Welcome back. Today I'm going to turn this Myrtlewood spoon. I used a little off-center turning to create the handle, and I cupped out the scoop on the lathe as well. Let's go ahead and get started. The wood chop is sponsored by I'm starting out with a piece of Myrtlewood. It's about 1.25 inches thick, 4 inches wide, and 14 inches long. In hindsight, I could have brought the handle down a little bit more. I was trying to get more of an arc on it, but this is the third one I've made, so it's kind of a learning curve. And I do like the way the handle came out in the end anyway. And I'm using hot glue to mount a waste block to it, and this will be used to cup out the inside of the scoop. After the hot glue sets up, that usually takes about 2 minutes. I mounted the waste block into the chuck. I have the lathe speed about 200, and I'm using the number 1 hollower. It has a small cutting tip on it, just taking nice light little cuts. I've been using hot glue on stuff like this for years. This is only the 3rd spoon I've made like this, but I haven't had any problems with it. As long as you get the hot glue hot, you shouldn't have any problems as well. It's hard to get a clean finishing cut turning this slow, especially on end grain, so I used a sanding pad with 100 grit on it to clean up any of the torn grain, and then hand sanded it up to 600. Alright, I just cut off the waste block on the bandsaw, just right along the glue line there. Used a pencil, found center down it, and then marked center on it, and used a awl to just punch a hole in there, and then I went a 1/2 inch out on each side, and I did that on both ends. I'm just going to put it in between centers here, and actually like that, and kick it off to one side, and then I'll kick and turn part of it, and then kick it off the other way and turn this part of it. So I'm going to try and get a little wave down the handle. And the faster you're turning this, the easier it's going to cut and the smoother your cuts are going to be. So I'm going to turn this up to probably about 2500. It's wedged in between centers very well, so it's not going to pop out. Just make sure when you're picking out the piece it doesn't have any little cracks or anything in it. But the faster it's going, the easier it's going to be. Hope you enjoyed the turning part of this. So a couple of things. Normally when you do an off-center turning, something like a goblet, you'll kick it off-center, turn this, sand and finish it, kick it the other way, turn it, sand and finish it. That way you don't have to go back and you're done when you get to the end there. But I started seeing that shape in it and I really liked the way it was coming out, so I just stopped. This is more of an oval from these 2 points, and I just took the DA and sanded off the rough edges on it. I'm happy with the way it came out. Another thing too, when I was cutting the excess off the scoop here, if you're not comfortable with that, using the bandsaw like that, just take a drum sander or something and sand it off, or you can even carve it to get that material off there. I've been doing that a long time, and it's if you're not comfortable with it, don't use that. So I made a couple more. Actually, this was the first one I made. I was just kind of doing a little test to see if it would even work, and I made that one. I was hoping to get a little more of an arc on it, and that was the second one. And this one here I did that's out of holly, and so I cupped out the scoop on the lathe just like the rest of them, and then I just took it over on the bandsaw and cut out that shape and mounted it back on the lathe. And the reason I did that is just easier to sand. You can turn it when it's on the lathe, and I just hand sanded the handle over like that. But I made that one too. So I posted some pictures up on Instagram and Facebook of some kitchen utensils I've been making to put up on my Etsy store for sale. So I had questions about that. So there's another big spoon I did, same thing, just scooped out the center and then turned the handle round on that one. And a little spatula, these are all Myrtlewood, so did that. There's just a straight spoon, and on these I just used a little carving tool here to scoop out the center of that one. Hang on, and I'll show you the jig here in a sec. So this is a spatula, and it's tapered on 3 sides of it for doing frosting and stuff. And another spatula, that's a beautiful piece of wood. And a little stir. And this one here, that's for pushing and pulling in the oven rack is what that's for. I did a video on this years ago. I think I made this one. I got all these templates from a friend of my grandma who passed away, and he used to make and sell these down on the coast. But I think I did the video on that one. That one's for measuring spaghetti. So these are all little templates that I got. They have little pads on them for the little jig he had. So there's that one and that and all of these little things. For the spoons that he did, this one, he actually had a router jig to cup these out. So he would lay down one of them that was already cupped out and have 2 blanks, and this was just a template that ran around it, and the other 2 were actually router bits. So he would just move it around and it would scoop out the spoon. When I was down at the maker meeting, I got to meet Abby from Infusion. I'll put a link down below to her Instagram page. She does some beautiful hand-carved spoons and some leatherwork stuff, and we were there, and Linn was doing some of it too, and they had this cool little hook tool. I think it's a Swedish hook tool, and they were doing hand-carved spoons, and it was cool. Fantastic job. But go check out her Instagram, and I'll put a link down below to Lynn's channel again too, because she's doing some hand-carved spoon stuff too. All right, I think that was it on the spoons, and so that's how I make them. Is just these simple ones like this. I just run them through after I cut them out, run them through the surface sander, and then just hand sand round over the edges and everything. I did turn the handle on that one, so I put it back after I cut it out, put it on the lathe, and turn the handle down. But a lot of hand sanding on stuff like that. All right, if this is your first time here, I have a new project video every Friday. Hope to see you there. And I mentioned it on my Q&A channel. I'm going to start a new series on this channel. It's Back to Basics Wood Turning. So I'm going to do that. That'll be the last Friday of the month. We'll go over all the questions I get throughout the month, and whether it's CBN wheels, or if you want to see a certain technique on a tool, sanding, lighting, any questions you have, just let me know and I'll go over them all in the video. All right, till next time, take care.